The story of the war, when I wrote it 30 years ago and we performed it 30 years ago, was deeply rooted in the specific story of me and the loss of my father and how that affected my life and how I grew up and how I went through all kinds of changes and things. And I've realised before putting on this production, I wanted to broaden it to the point that anyone who shares that sense of loss or a sense of outrage at the losses that occur can identify with my personal story, but also understand that it was my loss that enabled me to empathise with others. I didn't see much point in trotting out the show from 30 years ago. In fact, if anybody who sees this clip cares to go to my website, I explain why I changed everything. And it's actually all to do with exchange of information and the technology that we now have at our disposal to communicate with one another across both national borders and ideological borders. And one can substitute the word wall for the word border. I think the big question facing us now and successive generations is whether the use of information exchange technology will help us to grow closer together and become friendlier with one another and empathise more with one another across the boundaries and walls that now exist, or whether it won't, and that the use of this technology will help Bush and Blair to invade Iraq, or help them to be murdering people on the borders of Afghanistan and Pakistan, or whatever it might be that the warmongers want to achieve and how they want to describe our lives. My hope is that this technology will help the rest of us to say no. I'm quite sure that this show will ruffle a few feathers and people may go, what the fuck's he talking about, you know? And there will be that usual slew of people who disapprove of saying anything in a rock and roll show. You know, there are a lot of people who think popular music should only be about Moon and June and Candy Floss, or ooh, she's sexy, or something like that, and they think that politics is verboten and shouldn't be. I have a different view. It's meant to be a piece of theatre. Don't really look upon it as rock and roll. This is theatre. People come and experience this piece of theatre. I hope that, you know, they'll need to get their hankies out a couple of times, because that's what it's for, really. It's to encourage us to touch those bits of us that are still capable of empathising with others and with our own inner selves to the point where we are deeply moved.
Mama loves a baby, Daddy loves you too, and the sea may look warm to you, baby, the sky may look blue.
When I embarked upon the new production, which I did in January of this year, so that's like 9 months ago now, one of the things that we did straight away was to start a website around the tour. I then had an idea for one of the songs early in the piece, the song Thin Ice. And the idea was to display pictures of people who either died in war or died in political conflicts of some kind, as part of the show, alongside a photograph of my father, who died in 1944 in Italy, as an act of ecumenical solidarity with everybody who has lost a loved one, because I asked people to send me photographs of fallen loved ones. We had a huge number of responses to that. The difference between the projection technology, particularly in 1979 and now, is enormous. I'm working with a fantastic team of projectionists, and the team I've been working with creating all the visuals that we're projecting. It's like night and day from then. We can now project over 244 feet of wall, when then we could only project over 90. So, 244 feet's nearly a soccer pitch. It's something that's never been done before. People, when they tell people what we're doing, who know about projection, the people they tell go, "What? You're insane." Yes! Yes, we're insane! It's all good.